Hi guys, how guys? Welcome back to my page. It's your girl Nico Nicole, and this is Give This Girl a Mic. So I just wanted to jump in and hope you guys are having a good week thus far. I've been having a whirlwind. I jumped on last week for a few minutes and told you guys to bear with me that I would be popping on when I could pop on, but I wasn't sure when I would come back. So it is Sunday, and I did not expect to be doing this live this late at night, but I said, let me bang it out before the next week because I did promise that I would be here this week. Yeah, if you guys can hear me, let me know. Send some purple hearts in the chat. You know, I'm all about the purple hearts. So we are going to have a jam-packed episode today. Let me start off with introducing myself. It's your girl Nico Nicole, and this is Give This Girl a Mic. Each week we discuss pop politics, pop culture, and anything that I think is, newsworthy. So, and anything you guys really think is newsworthy because I'm following what you guys are liking, what you guys are conversing about on the internet. I scour the internet and see what's going on. And we talk to one another about what's happening in these streets. You understand me? So let's get it right into it. We're going to start off with just some Hollywood couple talk that I've been seeing going around that I was pretty interested in. So first we'll start with the one, the only Zendaya. Yeah, we talked about her a little bit last week. And with this particular thing, I thought it was just so beautiful how she's been like dealing with the marriage of it all. We always talk about how celebrities can't keep anything private, how they tell all their business and things like that. But I feel like out of all the celebrities, Zendaya has been the one who has not shown herself to have to prove anything to anybody. And you guys know I talked about her last week in whose video was it? Oh, with Olandria, which we'll talk about her at the end too. And I just love the way both Olandria and Zendaya move. And I feel like it's not even a surprise to me that they or Alandria has found her way into rooms with Zendaya, and Zendaya is a fan because they both have that poise around them. They saw how the streets were talking about their relationships and decided to pull back and keep it to themselves. And I think my mom used to always say a woman has a mystery about themselves. And I think Zendaya is like the perfect example of having it all but also maintaining that mystery about herself without feeling like she is imprisoned or policed. Because I feel like sometimes when you watch somebody, and I love you guys, I mean, look at the hair, my prom picture, my prom graduation. I literally like had survivor inspired like hairstyle and everything. So I'm a Beyonce girl, so no harm, no foul. But what I feel like with Beyonce and even Elvis to a certain extent, because you guys know I'm obsessed with like the Elvis story and all that stuff. I feel like with certain celebrities, it gets to a certain point where they are imprisoned by their fame. And the one thing that I love about Zendaya, she has not allowed the the fame to get to her head. She has not allowed the fame to destroy her, and she has not allowed the fame to take her joy, and she has not been imprisoned by her fame. So I just love how she has maneuvered Hollywood, and especially this picture in the orange is her engagement ring. So I put them side by side so you can see the actual wedding band. Let me make it a little bigger for you. Oh yeah, it's so good. It's juicy. So I love that. She has the wedding band. It's very subtle. She has other jewelry on. So it's like a if you know, you know situation, which is what ironically, when let me see if I can find the video. When Law mentioned it, he actually was the one that said, let me see if I can find it. He actually was the one that said, "Oh, she's already married, honey. Like you guys are late to the party." Yeah, let me see. I have it here. And the way she moves and everything,
Yeah.
here he is.
The wedding has already happened. You missed it.
Is that true?
It's very true. Thank you.
Period. You missed it. And that is the best thing about Zendaya. The fact that she moves like that. It's a you if you know situation, you had to be there. Catch me if you can. And to me, she really is like in the most respectful way. We're talking about like remove all the drama of like what Hollywood is, but like a modern day Leonardo DiCaprio in his great days, like Catch Me If You Can type vibe, like not the other stuff. But I mean, like, just she is the greatest young actress of her time who does it the right way to me, especially I think within culture, but I think as a black girl, especially within black girl culture. So it's she's one of one, and so I just had to give my flowers to Zendaya and how she's managing and handling and just being so demure in how she shows up. People who are also um in Hollywood and has maintained a certain level of like decorum in their uh public persona is these two right here. And I was so shocked. So they have been married for, I believe it's over 20 years, right? And for them to break up was so shocking to me. Let me get the exact date, how long they've been divorced or married. They just divorced. Nicole Kidman and Keith Urban. Um, 19 years. Whoo! After 19 years together. Can you imagine? Like, you have to just separate, and people do grow apart. There's nothing wrong with that. We know that people grow apart every day. It's just really sad to see because to me, they even started looking alike, honey. Like at a certain point, I was like, who's who in the relationship? And but that's the same thing that happened with Brad Pitt, where he was, I think he was with her too, right? So I was shocked at this. I know it's not like urban black culture, but I like all types of information and politics and pop culture and entertainment. So when I saw this, I had to report to you guys. I don't even know if you guys knew that this to me is equivalent of like, I guess maybe not equally equivalent, but it reminds me of like if a Goldie Hawn broke up with Kurt Russell, right? Like those type of iconic Hollywood couples, you just see them being together like for a long time. And so the fact that these two broke up, I just thought they would be together forever. And I thought they were such a cute couple. But people do grow apart. I understand Nicole has been on this crazy trajectory in the what do you call it? I would say the second act of her career. Like she obviously was a huge superstar in the early 90s, 2000s. And but I think she kind of like mellowed out, especially after like 2010. And so for her to have this resurgence in the 2020s is just unbelievable. And she's just been boom, boom, boom. There's a new show I have on her on my of her on my watch list. It's on Netflix. I can't wait to watch it. Yeah, it's called The Perfect Couple. I'm all about this. That's it right there. So I can't wait to watch this and see what it's all about. But she has been on it, and I have a feeling that if you guys know, I like that show. We Are Liars. It kind of gives that same like New England vibe to it, and they're in the middle of they're making a lot of movies like that now. But I feel like hers is like going to be really good. So I can't wait to watch. But sorry to Keith Urban and Nicole Kidman. May you both be successful in your endeavors moving forward. I wish you all the best. You guys were a really beautiful couple who I kind of looked to and was like, oh, look how they made it. So it's kind of sad to see you guys broken up, but everybody grows apart and it's amicable. Just like I imagine if something ever happened with Zendaya and Tom Holland, I think his last name is. I don't follow him, honey. I follow Zendaya. But I imagine if they ever broke up, it would be amicable in a similar way and kind of like not too messy and kind of quiet. So respect to these two. A couple on the other hand that is not quiet and wants all the smoke and has all the mess going on. It's these two right here. And I'm not gonna mention her name that shall now be named, but you know who this is. You know who this is. You might not know who she is, but you know who this is. And it's saying it right there. I don't even want to say her name out loud. So if you guys know, this situation has like really hit the fan. And I wasn't gonna talk about it at all because I don't really like talking to I don't know. I don't really like talking about this girl and her fan base because they can be very like aggressive and mean spirited and doxing. And And like Nicki, they're like barbs. So I feel like whoever is this girl's fans would be fans of barbs. And I like, the crazy thing is I like barb. I wouldn't call myself barb at all, but I was a Nicki fan. And then I liked this girl too. I just thought she had a lot of personality and she was fun, but the things just kept getting more toxic and more toxic. And at a certain point, even the same thing with Nicki, you can't defend the undefendable. Like things that get out of hand to the point of like just disrespect and blatant like crazy, you can't really defend crazy. And so as much as I really enjoyed watching her on the show, sometimes, not all the time, because I did see the toxic traits and I was like, okay, somebody got to get this girl out of here. She's crashing out and losing herself in the game, because it is a game. It's Love Island's a game, if you guys forgot. So it's a game to win 100K and you split it, right? I don't know how much the UK is, but I think UK is like somewhere around here too. Neither here nor there. So the fact that these two had this kind of altercation is crazy to me. So if you don't know, Louis Russell, from Netflix's Too Hot to Handle, is accusing his ex of keeping him and his current girlfriend away from his child, his son. And this lady is Nicole Oliveria, and she filed a restraining order against Lewis's current girlfriend, because Lewis's current girlfriend, who is a big reality TV star, a breakout star from this year's season of Love Island, she decided to go stalk this lady at her house at 1:30 in the morning when Lewis and her were there with their son. And she was really upset with Lewis because in her mind, maybe she thought that Lewis was cheating on her. Maybe she thought that Lewis was doing something with this girl. Maybe she just thought, maybe Lewis lied about where he was. We don't know the details of that yet. That's will all come out. What I'm hearing is April 3rd. April 3rd will determine, what the truth is and what the lie is, because currently there is a temporary restraining order on Lewis's current girlfriend, right? And when this all dropped, apparently there was news that without these text messages that Lewis's girlfriend was sending, we wouldn't have known that this was happening and they wouldn't have been able to get this temporary restraining order against her. But once we found out that this information was that this information was out, that's when Lewis backed out, because he didn't know that this information would go public. He thought this information was just going straight to the police station, and he was trying to put something in place to protect his baby mom and his child. But once he realized that this would go public and it could also affect his current girlfriend, he decided to, back out of it, or at least try to back out of it by only saying that he didn't know this was going to be happening, saying that the girl is lying, and basically saying that she's keeping her son away. So it got really messy really fast, and he did that in order to protect the current girlfriend's reputation. So we don't know where the truth is and where the lie is, but whatever it is, it's messy. And I'm hearing now from more sources that people were saying that what was happening is this the woman Nicole was not telling the truth. The woman Nicole was connected to Diddy in some way. Apparently, none of that is really true. We were yet to find out. Maybe they crossed paths and knew each other and things like that. And then there's other speculation that she dated him. She said she didn't date him. They were just friends. Hollywood's a small place. Um, and then they said that um you know the girlfriend tried to jump off a roof, possibly. They said the girlfriend broke into this girl's apartment. So there's just so much back and forth and information coming in. And then they said the girlfriend's text messages were not true, like that she didn't send those text messages. Come to find out later that she did send those text messages, and apparently there's footage of her outside of the home, and apparently she flew from North Carolina all the way to LA for this moment, for this boy. So can you imagine? It's actually insane. So the story is just continuing to unfold. I had to report on it, and I don't usually record on this type of mess. But when I saw it, that it was like this type of chaotic like web, I had to let you guys know about it because it's insane. And if it's true, I hope it's I don't know. For everybody's sake, I hope it's not as big as is made out to be. But if it is made out to be this way, I just feel like this woman had every opportunity to be everything she wanted to be. She had the red carpet rolled out for her when she first got out. She was supposed to be the it girl of the season, the diamond of the season, and at every turn she ruined the opportunities that came before her. She could have been so much. She could have done so much. She literally got out the villa and had the NFL. She had an NFL contract, bro. That's crazy. Then on top of that, she had Huda Beauty. What? She had the world, the gates open for her. And that's why even back in elementary school, I know my teachers used to say your attitude will determine your altitude. And that is the lesson here. Literally everything that she ever wanted is at the tip of that attitude of hers. At the tip of not being able to just have some control of her own self and trying to chase and control everybody else and what they're doing. My mama say, if you can't control yourself, you can't control nobody else. You are the stewardess and the steward of your own ship. Nobody else can make you control yourself. So the only other person that can make you control yourself, is the courts. And so, and even that sometimes don't work depending on the real one, correct? The real ones that ain't all the way there. So them courts gonna get you right because you don't want to be behind them bars. You don't want to put yourself in a vulnerable situation, especially when you could have been. I don't even want to bring what could have, would have, should have been, but I didn't mean to do that literally. But I just am disappointed. I feel like I saw this coming for a couple of months now. I think Stevie Wonder saw this coming, not the necessarily breaking and entering allegedly, but what I did see coming is the fact that the person was out of control, and the person that is out of control will make rash decisions and poor decisions. So that's that with that. Another person in some Love Island drama is here we are, Kieran. Oh my god, I told you guys in one of my lives a couple of weeks ago that Kieran and Sammie had broke up. And so no surprise to me that these two are no longer together because I never voted for them in the first place. It was the Facebook moms that voted for Kieran and Sammie. So I already knew. I am not surprised. And if you're surprised, wham, like, you should have listened to Lucinda. Pie to the face, Sammy. Pie to the face. And I'm kind of annoyed that my boy Ty is into Sammy, but I'm not surprised because she looks like Ella. Oh, I'm not supposed to say that, but she kind of do. She like a white Ella. And so, if you in this interview above where Karen is speaking, he's talking about how I watched partial clips of the interview. He talked about how Ty basically sent flowers to Sammy. And if you notice, this is a photo from Ty, right? That's his I think his TikTok. And then you notice on her TikTok in the background that same vase right there, that same vase is the vase that the flowers that Ty sent her are in. And in this interview, actually in the same exact spot, was going to do a little screenshot of it video, but I was rushing, so I couldn't grab the video, but I grabbed a screenshot of it. In this exact moment, Karen is talking about Tyreek bringing flowers to uh, Sammy. So he was, when I tell you, he was like, it's just a thing of respect. I know he's not a boy's boy now, and it is what it is. He's not my friend. He's not my guy. There it goes. That's the actual screenshot. When he said he talk about Tyreek had also sent her flowers to her house, and the reason he said that is because he sent Sammy flowers as well, and so he realized that Ty had also sent flowers. Ty is a menace. Speaking of, so this to me, when I saw this right here, I just fell out laughing. OMG, because why is this so true? So when I saw that they have like the uh Twilight love story, I was cracking up because you can't tell me that this is not their actual dynamic. And it's crazy because I feel like from the beginning, Ty has been sniping Sammie since she was in the villa. And if you notice here, this is fan art. So fans are shipping them together, you know. And it seems like if you guys know Twilight, you know, there's Taylor and then there's the other guy, the vampire dude. So that's like the Twilight reference. And it's crazy because I had this picture since before they left the villa. So people were already creating this dynamic because on, I don't know if you guys know, but every week Ty did a live. And on his lives, he was mentioning how much he liked Sammie and he was going to get Sammie and Sammie was his girl. And then I remember Scott came on and Scott was like, yo, chill, chill, chill. That's my bro or whatever. And then he was like, because he was like, I don't care if that's your bro. You my bro. I ain't going to go after Leanne. But I gotta get Sammie. I gotta have her. He's like, I'm sorry. He's like, I know that's your bro. Like, I know Kieran's your guy, but I gotta have her. So he was not letting up. So I already knew that he was gonna go after Sammie, but I didn't know he was really gonna go after her. And then, like I said, this is before they left the villa. Kieran and Sammie. So when Sammie got out, I guess she was going for it, and to me, like this picture shows people like, look at how they dress, look at their style, look at their swag. They actually even look better together, and I can kind of see that they actually do look better together. I feel like that is his type of girl. Like he's very attracted to like a CME type of girl. But when I saw the Twilight thing, I was cracking up because it's no way that he was able to snipe Kieran's girl because Kieran's like 6 foot something. And you know, Ty like 5'10", 6 feet at best. So you would think she would want this tall, gigantic, gentle giant. But at the end of the day, she was bored to death. There's videos of her sitting there, and Kara's like, "What do you want something to eat?" And she's like, "Oh no, I'm not hungry." Like she was not into it at all. But I imagine her being young, she wants to highlight, she wants to still go out. Ty and her probably be doing parties and hanging, and oh, you know, they be more of an it couple. Karen, he want to go back to Welsh and be out there with the ocean and fishing, doing all that earthy stuff. She don't want to do that. She want to be a city girl. She want to be outside. So I think that's what we see with the Mitch match of them two. And so we have to, not me, because I supported Lucinda's rights and wrongs. Yes, I did. Yes, I did. But for you and the Facebook moms who voted for those two to be the winners, wrong, loser. Literally, I'm so happy that I was not on this bandwagon. I would have been so embarrassed. I would not have wanted to show my face. So the fact that these two are not together anymore, it makes perfect sense to me. I was on the right side of history. Bravo to me. And bravo to you two who was on the right side of history as well. But yeah, this picture right here, this picture cracks me up, man. I swear. This is my favorite picture. They were literally on their Twilight stuff. And speaking of Twilight stuff, so me, I still low key, because you know, me and Sammie, I was not a big Sammie fan throughout the time on the show. I felt like she was getting into drama with Lucinda for no reason. So I still am shipping Ty and Ella. But apparently, Ella is one of those parts of it, as you can see. She turned her head swiftly. So in this video,
Senorette.
so embarrassing. Let me play it one more time.
Senorette.
Yikes. Okay. So wife, she not talk to me. You know how Ty is. Wife, that's his favorite thing to say. So if you can see here, she just completely ignored him. And at the end, she like turned her head. He waved. She didn't want no parts of it. And then she turns her head basically and ignores him. And that's what we see here, this last photo that I have here. And that's her literally turning her head and ignoring him. And the funny thing about this right here is that Ty was basically making it seem like he was the mature one for this. Because I don't know if you see, but the caption basically says, cheers to maturity. he's such a what do you call it? Such a troll. Yeah, see, it says cheers to maturity.
Senorita.
So he trolled himself, and I'm like, but Ty, would anybody have known about this if you didn't put this out there? Should you have just kept this to yourself? I'm not sure. I'm really not sure. But either way, I was very highly entertained because I thought this was so funny. The fact that he put this out there himself, because it didn't have to be this way. He did not have to put himself out there like that, but he did. And so now that he did, he is outside acting a fool. He actually, I didn't post the picture. I don't think I screenshotted it. Did I? Let me see. He actually is outside with Sammie now. Um, no, I don't. I didn't screenshot that. But yeah, there's a picture. It's kind of blurry. That's why I didn't screenshot it, because it's like this grainy, blurry picture of him with Sammie, and they're out at some event. So him and Sammie have met up now. So it's official. Like, it's not like he is playing around. He says he has a soft spot for Sammie, like on his live. He does lives at 8 o'clock. So he's really trying to let me go back to her. It's kind of anyway, my point was I'm trying to ship these two together. Like I have always been like a Ella Ty girl, but the way his face looks in this photo, and the way her head just shifted back like that, I have to let go of my dream. And then she posted a video of herself saying, you know, that song, Unbothered. Yeah, I was at my home, Cardi song. So she posted herself to that, basically saying she unbothered. She wanted nothing to do with this man. Leave her out of it and leave her the heck alone. So I'm gonna have to just continue to just ship these two together and hope for the best. But like I said, I'm not the biggest Sammie girl, so but I am a Ty person. So if he likes it, hell, if he likes it, I love it. So I guess
Senorita.
I'll have to just keep rooting for these two and hope for the best. But I can't believe he did that to himself. So we gonna let them be. And on the next, we ain't gonna let it be, and we gonna try to get these two. Um, I don't know. I don't know what we want to do with these. What you want to do with these people? What you want to do? It's not my business. But we gonna talk about it because we talk about people business here. Mm-hmm. Usually, I know, dear Park. That's all that was available. Sorry, don't judge me. Judge your mama. Anyway, let me. I don't know why I said that. Oh, let me add the video of these two here. I have to keep adding because I'm not upgrading. I'm not upgrading until I make it like maybe 10K. Then I upgrade. But right now I'm on like the free subscription of like the streaming platform. And you're only allowed 3 videos to upload at once. So this is my workaround. I have to delete the videos as they come. So but I'll edit all this out.
Gotta chill on the hate,
So
cause it's only putting gas in the tank.
And this is her video with
Y'all bitches gotta chill on the hate, cause it's only putting gas in the tank. Big mama, bitch.
Big mama.
Y'all bitches.
Okay, let's watch it. Way. I don't care. I love Mulatto. I mean, I feel like you know how it's F Boy Island, like literally the F Boy before with Ty, and that is F Boys all over the world. They're bound to catch one big fish from time to time, like Cardi, Lotto, Nicki. All of them kind of got the same dude in different fonts, except you know, it's just be like that, and I don't judge it. Excuse me, sorry. I don't judge it. That's their situation. She is who she loves. The only thing that I don't like is that she didn't wait till the marriage was over, or I don't know if it's like a citizen's thing, because I'm not trying to justify it, because I'm a married woman myself, and obviously, I would never want nobody to do that to me. So I don't like that she's doing it to another married woman. If that's the case, I don't know the situation. This is what I've heard, that she's that the that well, I know, because he was like, he had a legal situation, and the wife, da, 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 da. So I know he's married, right? I wish that she didn't do this with a bad married man. That would be my only goal for her. Like, I wish she would have had this like beautiful moment and being able to share her child and these moments, like not having to be by herself, because she's so beautiful. Like, so to like have to share these moments with this guy and everybody know. And it's another video, another picture. It's confirmed that it's him, guys. Come on, look at the hands. That's her baby daddy. Same hands, same tattoos, same little fingernails, that stubby little fingernails. That's clearly him, and that's clearly his hand. And so even that, like, I feel, and I don't just feel like this about Lotto. I feel like this about a lot of young girls nowadays. Like, I think there's a one thing to not be able to share your moment with people because you want to maintain your privacy. But I also feel like there's like a certain thing where I feel like these girls want to have this moment. They want to be with the guy. They want people to know. They want to have like the dream family and situations. But I feel like it's some of it is not their choice. And I feel like if it wasn't their choice, that would be one thing. But I feel like it's really sad when, I mean, if it was their choice, it would be one thing. But I feel like when it isn't their choice, that is what makes it really, really sad, And I feel like in Lotto's situation, this isn't her choice. This is not the dream life. This is not how she wanted things to pan out for herself. Nobody can convince me this is what she wanted. So this is the situation she's in. I feel like this is a lot of situation where you have them hood babies, and it comes in to this like broken home scenario. We see it, and it doesn't matter if you grow up in a suburb. It doesn't matter if you have money. Hood is a mentality, right? It doesn't. You can be hood anywhere in the world. You can be hood in the Maldives. You can be hood in the Rockies. You can be hood in Alaska. A hood is what you take with you, how you raise yourself, which we always talk about in our videos, is the morals, values, and principles, how you maintain those things, right? How you show up in the world for yourself, and how you break those generational curses. And I know in Lotto's situation, with having her mom raise her as a single mom, essentially, she felt like she was putting her baby in a better environment because she has made money. But if you still raising them with the broken mentality, it's still raising them in a broken home. So it's like you can break part of this curse, but you haven't broken it entirely, the curse. And hopefully for her child and having this child, she will be able to break that generational curse, and maybe her child will kind of be able to provide herself a full home, two parents. And not saying that's the perfect ideal situation. It is actually what I'm talking about. They done tried to indoctrinate me. It is best scenario to have both parents in the house in a healthy household when you don't have a broken home, right? So hopefully that can happen for her child, and maybe even for herself, like in the sense that maybe, um, what's his name, 21 Savage can, um do the right thing by her eventually down the line. So it's just unfortunate how the fans have reacted to it. When I first saw it, though, if I'm being honest, I thought it was so cute. I didn't even think about, because the thing is, like I told you about Zendaya and the Tom guy, I don't follow the boys. I'm here for the girls. And so when I saw the video, I just thought the video was
This
so
personal.
cute. I love like her outfit.
This shit
I didn't
business
even
and
think about
personal.
21 Savage at all. Like, I didn't think about the boy she was
Shit
with.
that I've been through.
I just thought it was like so
Bitches
cute.
would've
I was
been
like,
begging me
okay,
to
Big
switch
Mom was a
shoes.
big mama. And then I saw all the backlash coming. And I said, oh my God. I didn't even think about that like that, because because she keeps her relationship so private. I know she does the my man thing. But other than that, like, she does a good job with keeping her relationship sort of private, like, we don't really know a lot about her relationship. We don't know a lot about her status. We don't know how he treats her. We don't really know anything about it. We just know what she has presented to us. And I think overall, she's kind of presented this beauty queen. Like, she presented like a beautiful girl, a sweet girl, and like a fun girl. And I've been following her since the rap game. So if you were one of them people that follow her since the rap game as well, you know that she's like a down to earth kind of girl. Like, she has been through a lot. Her father was her manager. He was very hard on her. Her mom was a single mom and did a lot for herself and her sister. And you just know that she does her best and let the guy do the rest. I'll say it like this. And yes, the girls who are coming up after her are really, really disappointed in her. But I don't feel disappointed in her because I feel like it's like you stand on the shoulders. Like, she grew up in a single parent home with a struggling mom. Now she's going to be maybe a single parent, maybe not, maybe a co-parent, whatever her situation is. But at least she's in a better situation than she grew up in. So I feel like that's a win, you know? Nothing's perfect in this world. Like, nobody has the fairy tale, the perfect situation, the perfect dream, the perfect life. We can all aspire to do a little bit better in our lives. And so I just hope for her, she feels fulfilled in motherhood, and she, doesn't, and she has a successful pregnancy. I hope she has a successful pregnancy. I hope she enjoys motherhood, and I hope that she has a positive co-parenting relationship with whoever the father is. 21. So yeah, that's what I hope. I really I like Lotto, and I'm gonna continue to support her. I'm grown. I'm real grown, so I don't really have a parasocial relationship with these people. I just like their music. I'm gonna continue to like her music. She hasn't done nothing crazy. She ain't do no Diddy stuff. She ain't do no R. Kelly stuff. She just man liked or got with the wrong guy. Or I can't even say that. Got with a guy who is married, which is wrong. But I still like her. And I'm not gonna cancel her. So I don't care what y'all say. Big Mama. Anyway, I still like her. So best of luck on off of that like morality train, but just on the fact of like just enjoying her as a musician and an artist. I wish you the best of luck. I hope you have a real successful pregnancy, and all the best to you, Lotto. Another girl that has who has a lot of babies but is also doing her boss big thing is Caresha. And I love this interview with her and Charlamagne the God. I felt like it was a really good insight on Caresha. People gave her a lot of backlash for this because they felt like she defended Diddy in it. But for me, I watched the whole thing. Like, I watched I guess it's 2 hours of this. Yeah, I watched all 2 hours, however long it was I watched. So I feel like it was a good pace of the show. And I feel like that last segment was like off the cuff, off the script, but it was like really good because it was like Caresha putting her interviewer hat on, and she asked Charlamagne all these like really good questions about like, excuse me, how she should how the career has impacted him, his success and things like that. And on top of that, he was able to bounce back questions for what he had for her. So like, it was a good banter, and he was basically like, you can do type interviews with Oprah and Michelle Obama and things like that. Like, you have it in you. And I don't know, whenever I sit under this light for too long, my nose start itching, y'all. Sorry about that. But yeah, he's like, you can have good things. You are very talented girl, and you could be more than know that you could be more than you are showing up to be right now. And he really enjoyed the interview with her, and I enjoyed watching their banter in the interview between those two. So as far as Caresha goes, I feel like what I gathered from the interview, a few takeaways. The first was, I feel like the relationship between her with and JT was really deep. And I feel like she talked about how her relationship with JT was like a marriage. And in that marriage, they broke up. And that breakup was really hard on her. And I feel like she is still struggling with not having her best friend there. And I feel like she feels like if she would have like been able to maintain that friendship and that relationship between her and JT, she would have continued to do this. But I think because that relationship between her and JT deteriorated, she was feeling like she no longer had like the ambition to be singing and be there for music, and she wasn't putting her best foot out there. And she also felt like her and JT had completely different ideas of what success looked like in the music industry. Like JT, we saw where she ended up taking her career. She wanted to go down like a more alternative rock, alternative rap type thing, like what her boyfriend Little Uzi Vert does. And Caresha was like, I'm a glamour girl. I feel like Caresha is like a black Gwen Stefani, right? Even though Gwen Stefani is like rooted in hip hop herself, but I feel like Gwen Stefani, fabulous. Like she got the songs that they gave to Jack Harlow. I feel like Caresha would go right? Instead of giving those songs to Jack Harlow, give them to Caresha, because those are her type of music songs. Like First Class, she would kill that. You know, like kind of how Eve was in that lane. I'm not comparing Eve because Eve, my girl. That's my generation. But I'm just saying, like, if she was allowed to sing that poppy music about fashion and glamour and designer, that would be her bag. You know what I'm saying? Like that type of sound is what I'm saying. The Jack Harlow music is Caresha sound. So somebody need to write her those lyrics. Anyway, so versus JT, who wanted to go down that alternative dark rock, and she's in her bag. And I feel like that goes to show like how important identity plays into who you show up as in the world. Carisha showed up as herself, and she held it down for so many years that she had a very clear understanding of who and how the city girls should portray themselves, right? Versus JT, who had been sitting in jail for over a year, and she started thinking about all the ways they can improve, all the how she was going to show out when she got it. She had something to prove. Where Caresha felt like, oh, she's home, I can relax. And JT was like, no, we go, like we just hitting the ground running because everything was so new to her. And Carisha's like, oh no, this is not new to me. I'm true to this at this point. Like I'm ready to pivot and do something else. Now we can do this. We can move on to step 2. And JT's like, no, we on step 1. We about to build this from the ground up. We the new city girls. So I feel like that disagreement is why they divorced, so to speak, right? So just like I talked about with Keith Urban and Nicole Kidman, how you can be with somebody for years and years and years and then just not be on the same page. It's the same thing when it comes to women and our friendships as well. They just grew apart. At a certain point, there was no longer that desire to be on the same path with one another. And that was like really heartbreaking for Caresha. But it was also a very pivotal and important thing I feel like she talked about, because it showed us like when it's time to let go, you know it's time to let go. But you have to be comfortable with making the change and making the move. Because only when you make that change and grow can you allow yourselves to be in a better place for yourself. That's when she started popping off with her talk show and Caresha Please and things like that. The negative part about the interview, which I feel like most people harped on, so that was a positive like thing that she talked about, like finding herself, a lot of discovery, a lot of being on her own, what that entailed, how she was able to make it. Those were some of the pivotal and highlights of the interview for me. One of the harder parts of the interview that was hard for me to watch was when she started talking a little bit more about what Diddy did. And she talked about that relationship with her and Diddy and how he was a good man. And I think that is the part that made people really upset with her. This is, I feel like, was the thing that turned everybody. Because in that interview, she talked about how Diddy is a good person. With everything we know about Diddy, how can you say that, Caresha? And I think that's why the fans were really upset with her, because they're like, you're sitting here gassing Diddy up, talking about he a good person, when he's not done people so dirty. How could you sit there and support a man like that? Like, where they do that at? And that's what made her fans really upset with her. So what I felt about that part, because I watched it, like I said, I watched the whole interview, and she was basically saying, like, from a spiritual standpoint, from a like growing standpoint, he would help her like remember to stay connected to God, to go to church. And she said she saw him as, dang, she looked at him as like, dang, you must have been through a lot when you was younger. Like, you was kind of messed up, because how you showing up for me now lets me know that you're actually a good person and you're a good man. So that's why she was so like enamored with him, because he was the first person to introduce her to some stability, which kind of in a sense can be a little bit sad, because it just lets you know, again, what I said before, you can be the richest person in the world, but you could be a hood rat in Alaska. You can have hood mentality wherever you go, and that means not having the morals, the values, the principles to be able to become a better person, to have the mentality to do something better or greater with your life. And it goes back to even the Huda situation. Like, we got her oh, I said I wasn't gonna mention her name, and I did. They ain't gotta try my best. That goes back to Lewis's girlfriend in that situation. Like, at the end of the day, with Caresha, Lewis's girlfriend, and certain people, individuals, you can be in an environment, and even we talked about Lotto just now, you can have it all, and you can be whoever you want to be. But if you don't have the confidence to stand up and show who you are and remind yourself who you are on a daily, anybody can run you over, and you can become, what they say, if you don't stand for something, you'll fall for anything. And I think that's what it was with Caresha and the Diddy situation. Like, she didn't stand up for herself. She didn't show up as her full self. So she didn't stand up for something. So she fell for the okie doke. And guess what happened? Now she's the laughing stock. Now she's the one talking about she getting peed on. Which she also talked about, and she said she was so embarrassed about, because in that situation she said that her kids can see that, because they're at the age where they can look online and see how things are. And she said that's the one thing she kind of is embarrassed about. Like, why? She said, this is why would I say something like that? Why would I say something like that? So that my kids can now be embarrassed at school. And she said she was saying it just off the rip. Like, it wasn't even something that actually happened, which I don't know about that. But she said she just was saying it for the fun of it. And then for her kids to now be embarrassed by it, she is like, she can't believe she put herself in that predicament. So that was the summary of the Caresha interview. It was a lot more that he talked about, but those were the two main topics that I saw, people harping on, was the JT relationship and the Diddy of it all. But what I got from it is a person who's taking accountability for their actions in their life, ready to move on, and wants better opportunities to come in the future, and hasn't given up on themselves, and hopes that the people who support her will not and have not given up on her as well. So we'll see what happens. I do hope, I do think she does amazing with the Caresha Please podcast. I don't know if that was up under Revolve and she can't come back with it. I don't know what the business deals are with that, but I feel like she does have a gold mine with that show, and I do hope that she continues to thrive in whatever avenue she goes in next. She did mention that she's coming out with an album, and that this is like the first one where she's kind of completely on her own. So we'll hear what that music sounds like. I think she needs to go get whoever's writing for Jack Harlow, as you guys mentioned, because I think that is more her bag and her lane, and she would really succeed in that lane. So that's my 2 cents. Caresha, please, girl, let's move on.
It's the red. Here we go again. That is a rock.
I want to talk with it on mute, but on the loop because you guys know I'm not gonna be able to have that on as I'm talking about what's going on. So this is Lil Kim. I just muted it, guys, so you guys can see it, but it is muted. So this is Lil Kim. She was honored by Cardi B after years of being disrespected by other artists in the industry who made their claim to fame, notably Nicki Minaj. And it was beautiful that she was able to get this opportunity from Cardi B. And if you could see, I picked up this image because Cardi allowed her to wear this outfit here, which was really cute. And I think that she was just like proud of like her because she mentioned that I came up here and Cardi let me wear this outfit. She brought like dress designers and stylists to my house, and Cardi really put on for her. Like she really treated her like I saw another clip. Let me see if I can find it. That Kim said Cardi is like a little big sister to her. Like, you know, she is just like a really loving person, and she feels like she is just so proud of like the relationship that she has with Cardi because Cardi really truly like loves on her. And I think when you're used to like being like the laughing stock of things and not being respected, and then somebody comes and shows you love, like I think it's one of them things where you can't do nothing but be just proud to be loved knowing. Here it goes.
Cardi is
Listen,
like
guys.
the love of my life. Y'all don't even know. Like, she makes me laugh. Y'all don't know. We talk a lot.
Okay.
People have no idea. But like, she's my little sister, but she's really my big little sister. Like, no.
How?
It's facts. Because
Okay.
she believe it or not, she directs me on a lot of things like, no, this is what I want you to do. Da, 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 da. And I'll be like, but why? Why are we doing? And like, yeah, I'm like, okay, that makes sense.
Okay.
And then like, we just laugh a lot.
You guys heard that. She said, we just laugh a lot. And I just love that. Like, it's just so beautiful to see her being treated with such respect by Cardi, you know, and like allowing the queen, the goat, to be respected and shown kind of this care. And I just think not a lot of people are doing that these days for the artists that they love and care about. And I saw like some Nicki Minaj fans hating on her and saying like, if you got, she's on tour with the Pussycat Dolls right now, if we loved her so much, why wouldn't we go support the Pussycat Dolls? Why wouldn't we do this? Why wouldn't we do that? Well, we all were on the same timeline, guys. We all were there when Nicki Minaj made it kind of weird for us to even be fans of Kim. And then on top of that, Nicki Minaj was the GOAT. She was the queen at the time, and nobody was like really going against her. If she said Kim wasn't that girl, you heard what Kim said in her interview before. She said that Baby from what's in the Cash Money stole her whole style. This is what Little Kim said, right? And she said that because of that, Nicki would not even want to share the stage with her. She said there was times when she could have had the stage with Nicki several times, but Nicki did not want to be on stage with her. She said Nicki wanted no parts of her. So if you had a person who literally is like doesn't want any parts of you, doesn't want you to be on camera with her at all, doesn't want to do a music video with you, doesn't want to have the stage with you, and then turns the whole industry against you because you're their diamond of the season. Why do you think we're not watching her at the Pussycat Dolls premiere? You know why? Because it's been set up that way. The whole music industry turned their back on her. Everybody, the only person who was still supporting her, and this goes back to Caresha. Everything has a through line. First time we saw that Nicki Minaj, we saw that Little Kim was getting her due diligence because, as we know, in the past, although Kim a lot of Kim's style, her flow, her swag was attributed to Nicki Minaj. Most of it comes from like her own like relationships with these designers. And even that hardcore pose she did, that was like her, she has stories behind all her poses that the girlies don't have. Like when Nicki Minaj is that same pose that Kim did with the legs open or whatever, she had no story behind it, right? But Kim's story was like Biggie was like she did it. She was 17, so she just did a pose. She dropped down, and Biggie was like, "Yo, that's," and she was like, "No, I was just sitting like that, not being serious." And he was like, "Nah, do that again," because she was sitting comfortably, like just being just like a kid, but not a kid, but she was a kid. She was 17, which is already whatever, but she was just doing that, sitting like that. And then he saw her sitting like that, was like, yo, stay like that. Because she was like doing other poses you see if you open up the album cover or the CD cover. Or I'm sure back then they probably had tapes. Whatever they had back then, that's what they was opening up. And so when Nikki stole that style, like that was kind of cool. Like I remember being like, oh my gosh, she kind of like paying homage and doing all the things. This is like when she first started coming out. Not now. I know Barb, she's the queen, she's the this shit. We all know. Nobody's debating that. But you also can't debate that this is not the Queen Bee. She was the original Queen Bee. She literally had the bee on her shirt or her necklace, right? Her big pendant. And like that's what we used to call her, like the Queen Bee, Little Kim the Queen Bee. So you best take ye. Shall I proceed? Yes indeed. I'ma throw shade if I can't be paid. Throw you up to your girl like an army grenade. You can slide on my ice like an escapade. The itchy yaya with the marmalade. Who me, not you? Oh yes, who's he? I even dig your man style, but I like your profile. Whisper in your ear, get you all shook up, but don't touch. Let's keep this one hush. I know you see me on the video. True. Anyway, what you know about that? Kim was her. She's still her. I just feel like, again, we go back to the women we was talking about before. Like when you have these men maintaining and ruling an industry, they could impact your spirit, like Caresha, praising that man. And then in Kim's situation, praising an abuser as well, right? A lot of these women in the industry ends up with abusive men. And that's neither here nor there with Kim's topic. But my point is that when we can come together and praise each other and lift and uplift each other the way Cardi did for Kim today was just a beautiful moment. And I don't think we realize how impactful this is, and maybe it'll stop her from having to do these pussycat opening acts and being on the throne where she belongs. Queen shit. You feel me? Anyway, guys, so on to the next topic. Speaking of queen bees, speaking of queen bees, let's talk about Beyonce, her mama, her cousin. We talk everybody mad, everybody acting up, y'all. So Queen's B family has been busy this weekend. Her husband, her mama, her sister's son, aka her nephew, has had a busy media blitz week. Like it's been all about her, which leads me to believe two things. She's coming out with an album, and maybe this is just fodder for that because she did this before, and I talked about this like a long time ago, like how she had like some type of controversy with Saucy Santana, like back in the day when she put out the first act. So with You Can't Break My Soul Renaissance. So yeah, this could all be like that same type of media blitz thing. Also was like getting these like deep dives and things about 7-Eleven and how 7-Eleven was created like during the time Jay-Z was doing what he wanted to do. So she was hired from hotel to hotel. I don't know if any of this is true, but it was some good juicy lore. And I said, wow, I didn't know none of this. Or okay, fine. Like she's doing her thing. Like she has her gumbo at this like what do you call it? The fair, the Houston fair. I was like, okay, go Miss Tina, go Miss Tina. Come to find out. Come to find out. Speaking of Nikki, Miss Tina was poisoning people, y'all. Allegedly. Where my tag at? Hold on. Allegedly. So apparently there was an issue with the gumbo and the seafood and being out in the heat. You understand what I'm trying to say? And it wasn't sitting well with people. So I feel bad for her because I was really rooting for her and I was like excited about her gumbo and all her ventures because I'm currently reading Matriarch and I know all the things she's been through, like down in Galveston, Texas to New Orleans, Louisiana, where her family was from, and all that racism they had to deal with, and the things her daddy went through and the injury on his job. And I'm just like reading so much of her life right now and all that she's been through, and then like to see this stuff happen is like another thing. Like at what point does her story just get the happy ending? And like if you read her book, she's already been through enough. Like let this lady be. She's 70 years old. Like Jesus, can't she get some rest? Can't she get a break? Life is so hard. That's all I got from this. Like, if there's not, that movie One Battle After Another, that's a saying in the black community too, by the way. We'd be like, if it ain't one thing, it's another. It's one battle after another. You know what I'm saying? Like day after day, you have to deal with something, some type of drama, some type of thing that you are fighting. And it just lets me know, like, she starts like this movie, or the movie, it's a movie in my head, the book from the beginning of her life, right? Talking about like her mom even before her life, like what her grandparents went through with the in the slave quarters, and all the way up until we talk about every matriarch in her family, all the way up to her mom, and her being sickly but still just showing up and having these skills of sewing, and then talk about her own life and what she's been through. And it's just so many struggles that she's overcome, and this is just another hurdle, right? And so what doesn't kill you make you stronger. This will just be another blurb in her life. She still got a billionaire daughter. What you got? And so at the end of the day, this gumbo situation scandal is not going to make or break her. And I still love Miss Tina regardless, and I'm not under spells. I rebuke that in the name of Jesus. But I do, and that's another thing. She's very spiritually inclined and connected. She loves the Lord. So for people to even make that a thing, it's just like the Will Smith thing and the Jada Pinkett Smith thing. Like everybody has made Jada the villain, which is crazy to me because if you actually read Will's book, he takes complete accountability for how he treated Jada, his first wife, his ex-girlfriends, and all the women in his family. He talks about it, and he talks about how bad of a guy he was. He was a jerk. And still, even with his own admission, we have villainized Jada. But y'all don't read books because they say you want to hide something from her. Put it in the book. And that's exactly what this is. So when I see Tina in this next struggle, and it's funny, as I'm reading the book, I was saying to myself, oh, Tina about to get in trouble because, like whenever a Black person started revealing the truth of what happens in American society, some drama happens in their life. So I feel like with what she revealed in the book about like systematic racism and the whole, slaves not or free people in Galveston not knowing they're free, and why we celebrate Juneteenth and all these types of things, and talk about Snick and being kicked off the counter with her big sister and all these things, I knew something was coming. And if it's just something as petty as Mama Tina's gumbo, then so be it. Because the consequences do not outweigh the reward. Because the knowledge and the gems she dropped in that book, thank you, Miss Tina. I'll leave it at that. Anyway, y'all can talk about that other stuff. But we gonna talk about one more thing.
Type of shit you do when you like somebody.
My baby.
It's hard to be fine. I said it's hard to be fine when you got somebody on your back.
Still fine.
Come on.
Are you struggling, babe? I told you. Wait.
You could do that?
Yeah. That look good to you?
I don't like white girls.
It's been a crazy weekend.
I didn't even say nothing. Y'all see I was quiet. What y'all think about this mess right here? Honestly. It's just a mess. So at the end of the day, when and I put that last scene in there. Hold on, let me rewind that just so y'all can see. And she put that in there for a reason. At the end of it all, where she at? Where she at, y'all? Let me switch it out with me. Where she at? She at the bank. Transaction completed. That's what she wanted y'all to know. The transaction is complete. Okay? Where she at? She at the dang on bank. And at the end of the day, she wanted us to know this. She wanted us to know that her interaction was transactional. Okay? Okay, my sound, make sure my sound was on. Hold on. So yeah, she wanted to make sure that we knew that what it was. And so I leave that there. But that was crazy because I looked up their age and Tommy is like 40 something and this little boy is like just turned 20 something, like barely legal. And she got him wide and all outside. Like my grandma used to say, you know, ooh, she said that. Ooh, that girl got you wild and all outside. So yeah, that's a definition of that. And I think that Solange know what she dealing with. Like she knows her son better than we know her son. And we know Tommy from Jersey just like me. So I know her. I don't know her, but I know them type of girls. I know them Jersey girls. So, you know, she don't play. And she gonna find an opportunity wherever she can find an opportunity. So we have to look at it like that. Like this is a girl who is trying to, you know, stay out of the environment that she grew up in. Brick City, baby, that is no joke. Like Brick City is the hood, babe. You know, I love it. But you know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, you want to escape the hood, you want to get out your hood, you don't want to stay in your hood forever, like we talked about before. And this goes to that too. The hood mentality can be anywhere. This particular day, it just happens to be wherever they was at, right? So it's not like we're seeing something different. Like I remember being an exchange student, right? Like, and I'm from the hood. And I remember going out the hood and going to like a different country. Like I was an exchange student, I traveled the world. My mom said, you down here, but you ain't from around here. Because even though I was in the hood, I didn't grow up hood because my mom wasn't from the hood. My mom was from Florida. And so she just ended up marrying my dad, who brought her to Jersey and brought her to like a bad part of Jersey. So even though we was in a bad neighborhood, we didn't grow up with like the hood mentality of the surrounding area because my mom didn't grow up with that. So when my mom and dad divorced, he went back down to Florida and she stayed up here for the education. I told y'all this story 1,000 times. So it's like it's like kind of how Caribbean, my mom is Caribbean, but it's kind of like she's American, but she's, you know, Caribbean. So it kind of like that. Like you grew up when you go to school, yeah, you in America, but when you at home, you in your own little cocoon of the Caribbean. And that's kind of how my household was, even though we was all American there, because my mom grew up with an American mom and a Caribbean dad. So she has like the best of both worlds. So when we grew up, she always say, you know, she assimilated to American culture. She never really like carried that burden of like I have to raise my kids like to be that strict Caribbean way. You know what I'm saying? So because of that, we grew up super American at school, but in the house, we had like my granddad, the Caribbean one, was a preacher. And then my real dad is a military man. So you got a military father and then a Caribbean pastor granddad. You're gonna grow with very much structure in your home, no matter what environment I was in. They could have took me to Alaska and I would have grew up with structure. You understand what I'm trying to say? And versus if somebody like a Tommy, she grew up in that super hood part of Jersey that was like hard to escape. So when you escape it, doesn't mean you're gonna lose the essence of who you are. You're just gonna take it wherever you at. And so I will say for Juelz, like you don't know how deep this go. Like you better be careful, you know. And my mom, she met Betty Shabazz right before she died, and Betty Shabazz told her, "Be careful who you talking to. It just might be their job." Like, so Jules, you know, you have a lot to lose. You come from a very uh astute family, right? So you better be careful who you talking to. It just might be their job to get information and drop a dime on you and your family. So you never heard the story of Samson and Delilah? It could even be that situation where they just kept wanting to find what Samson's um treasures were, what his strengths were, how did he become so powerful? What was the secret to his power? And they found out the power was his hair. And once Delilah found that power, they woke up and they stripped him of his hair. And he used his last strength to destroy the towers that Delilah and her people came from and took them all out. But it also took itself out. So you better be careful who you talking to, Jews. Just might be their job. Because I know her type. I'm from Jersey. I'm from the hoodest part of Jersey. And I know how they roll. And I had to live in that. And that was not an easy environment to grow up in. And thank God I've gotten out of it by the grace of God. But also, like my mom said, I was from down here, but not from around here. So she from down here and from around here. You feel me? So you guys better be very careful when you're dealing with a woman like Tommy Lee. On to the next. Another person in Queen Bee's hive who is out here just outside was Jay-Z. And I don't know if I'm gonna do a deep dive, but what I noticed these last couple of days, and I was actually just talking to my brother about this. Jay-Z been doing some really interesting stuff lately with his YouTube page. Like he's been dropping videos and like in correlation with what's going on with his life. And I thought that was so interesting. And then, so the last, like, I would say 6 months, he did one in 6 months, and then like 1 month ago, and then like 2 weeks ago, and then boom, the interview. And I don't know what he's trying to like, is this his like magnus opus or something? Even though I would think that would be like the blueprint. But outside of that, or maybe his 444. But outside of that, maybe this is his life like version of that, because he now has this like one night only show, and maybe he's preparing himself for the other side of the roller coaster. Roller coasters go up, but they always have to come down, and some of them come down in a way of Elvis. You know what I'm saying? Amy Winehouse. But some of them just get older. Age out. So he talked about himself, that hot white light. He's at that place, and we got to see how that white hot light fades. And as much as he talks about that hot white light and how we can't chase it, he's kind of a little hypocritical when it comes to that, because what I've noticed is he continues to chase it despite him saying you should not. So we'll have to see what that is. But in this particular interview, let me give you a recap of what he talked about there. What was actually discussed in this GQ interview. And I just thought some of the imagery was so beautiful. Let me show you. So he had this one, and then obviously the one I just showed you. And then let me see if I can show you one more. I don't know if I deleted any of them. This one here I really loved. Interview, what Jay-Z talked about was he had like a reflective interview with this young up and coming interviewer slash news editor, it seems like, of GQ. Seems like this young boy is like a fan of Jay-Z, who had a good rapport with Jay-Z for a while, because he had a lot of good questions for Jay-Z, but they did feel a bit prompted and self-guided by Jay-Z. I said Jay-Z interviewed his daggone self for this particular one. That's what it felt like. So in this GQ situation, they basically discussed right off the back what happened with these allegations. And Jay-Z talked about how he's been in like just such a dark place since the news came out. He said that this just put him in a really uncomfortable and vulnerable situation. And he's not a vulnerable or a guy that puts himself in those situations, especially since he's come out. He's always kind of had control of the narrative. So he was like, you shouldn't put these things out. And remember, they made it very public. Like they put this news out the day before Blue Ivy had her Lion King premiere. And so they kind of tarnished her moment by brandishing her father. And so he was talking about the humiliation of it all. And even though he feels like he currently like beat that case, you can't demolish or minimize that impact that it had on his child and his life and his family. So they wanted him to feel the scar. And I think because he is a billionaire, not quotes, he is a billionaire, they knew that sometimes the guilty plea means less than that public humiliation, because like, yeah, you be found guilty of things and do your time and whatever and get out of jail like a Diddy situation, but the biggest thing from R. Kelly to Jay-Z now to Diddy is that fact that they chose to make this like this huge humiliation ritual. Same thing with the Bill Cosby thing, just like, dragging him across and him like being shown and displayed. That is sometimes like the worst part of it, because once you're hidden, you kind of are forgotten, unless you make yourself a spectacle in some way, shape, or form, like R. Kelly has done several times by releasing songs behind bars. But whatever, because some people got such arrogance that they don't want to be forgotten. But neither here nor there. Whereas somebody like a Diddy, who knows he's done wrong and is very embarrassed by the situation, he's just out. He's just hiding out. He thought it was game at first, but now he's hiding out. You don't hear nothing from him, right? And so he's gonna do his time. He's gonna get out when he get out, and then we're gonna hear all the mess. We're gonna hear all the noise. So everybody handles it differently. But I think again, the biggest impact is that embarrassment lash. It's a lashing, right? So that's what is hard to face, the humiliation factor. And he discussed that in the first half of the interview, and how he could not believe that was happening. And that's the reason he hasn't released music right now. Like, he'll hop on a song here and there. He'll do Beyonce's tour. He said they wanted him on the Clips album. The guy was like, why aren't you on the Clips album? People really wanted you on that. And he was like, I just didn't feel comfortable doing that, because at the end of the day, like, the things I have to say right now are so dark that they won't sound like me. You won't even recognize me, because I'm in such a dark place because of this time of like uh embarrassment, and humiliation and anger. And so they talked about that. Then they obviously talked about like who he is, how he became, and kind of, tore him down to build him up. They talked about the building up part of him, how he became Jay-Z, Hove, and some of the, I don't know, the things he accomplished in his life. It was just like kind of a session, so to speak. And let me see what else that sticks out, because now I'm like drawing a blank. That was like a big deal to me. That was like, oh, I should talk about that. Because the main thing to me was like, oh, he actually talked about that situation. Oh, he talked about J. Cole. That's right. It did come off a little jealous. So he mentioned that in the J. Cole section of things, that J. Cole and him is not that cool, which I didn't know. I didn't know he had beef with J. Cole. And he was saying, because J. Cole is his artist, and he was saying that he didn't even know like albums was going to come out. J. Cole keep things very like tight away from him. And I think it goes back to like, I remember listening to somebody, was it Ja Rule? Remember that song he had on Chris Tucker movie with Jackie Chan. I can't remember the name of it off the back right now. But he did that. Can I get a what? Not that. Was it that one? Yeah, I think so. And can I get a what? Yeah, that was Ja Rule's song. And remember at the end, Ja Rule was like, it ain't even the last shit. How my dough flow? You good and I got dough, baby. Yeah. So that was Ja Rule's song. It was playing, and Jay-Z came in and said, "That's mine. I gotta have that." And he's like, but don't worry, this song's so hot that I'm gonna put you on the remix, and then we gonna have this song on the album. So I think that's why J. Cole don't really play Jay-Z his songs, because Jay-Z be stealing songs and then just give you no credit for it. Remember Future said the same thing happened with Drunk in Love, We Be All Night. That's Future's song. And Future said Beyonce just did it and he didn't even know it was gone. So I think when you have that much power in the industry, you can just take the hottest songs from the hottest artists. Like there comes a point where you just kind of hold your stuff real close to the chest, and you're not talking to no Jay-Z about what you're doing. And if you are, you giving the wrong information, the fake news, you trying to throw them off your scent, or even something. This is way off, but this is Jay-Z. I just found out J Lo's song stole. If you had my love and I gave you all my trust from what's her name? Shantae Moore. Shantae's got a man at home. So yeah, J Lo stole that song because Diddy walked in there on Rodney Jerkins and said, "Give me that song. That's a good song." He said, "I can't. It's already out. Like Shantae Moore already recorded this and it's already out." And he was like, "Well, make me something just like it." And when you hear the song, and now the algorithm's gonna send it to you. I might even post it on my page. When you hear the song, it's identical. It's like very identical. I still like J Lo's better, but that's probably only because I knew it first. But no, they are identical songs. And hers is like, "If you had my love," and then hers is like, I gave you my love." It's like basically the same song. It's crazy. So Jay-Z has a habit of doing that. So I think somebody like J. Cole, who is a very unique individual, next thing you know, Jay-Z got J. Cole's whole swag and whole new style. And so they don't want that to happen. So that's why I feel like J. Cole is not really dealing with Jay-Z no more. The Drake versus the Kendrick feud. That was interesting because he basically said he thought it was like not good for the culture because he felt like Drake is good for what he's good for and Kendrick is good for what he good for, and that it just takes money away from the industry, or it takes away our power from the industry because you had these two big powerhouses and now people have to choose one or the other. He was like, even him, like when he was picking Kendrick for the Super Bowl, people was like bullying him and saying like now he's done chose Kendrick's side. He's like, I ain't chose nobody's side. At the end of the day, I respect both artists individually. He's like, and why would I be on their side? I'm the king. I just thought that was very cute and arrogant, and I love that. Very Jay-Z of him. So he was like, I'm the king. Like, why would I? Feel me? So yeah, that was interesting. I think he talked about that whole black capitalist stuff and being labeled as a capitalist. Um, he just feel like at a certain point you're gonna become that in this industry, but he also feel like he does it. He's a what's the best word I can use? Ethical capitalist, because he's never taken advantage of his people. He feel like he was like a black man in Brooklyn, grew up in Brooklyn, born and raised, and he owns a percentage of the Brooklyn Nets. He was like, even if I own 0.03% of the Brooklyn Nets, I'm a black man that still owns a percentage of the Brooklyn Nets in his own city. Who could say that? Made Hove, make another Hove. Anyway, but yeah, so he was basically saying that in terms of his views on people seeing him as a black capitalist, because that's been a big topic. If you guys don't know, you guys know my favorite guy is FD Signifier, and they talk about that a lot. 35 minutes, so wasn't much, but the parts that he did talk about were very like structured, very thoughtful, and I don't feel like they were very personable, but they got his point across, and it was right before the day he had that big one night only interview concert that sold out. And there's, like I said, there's just a lot of fodder around Beyonce, fodder around her family, and they call it media blitzing. I told you guys they do that in politics. So it wouldn't be surprised to me that they're doing the same thing within the Beyonce uh what's her Parkwood house. Like if this is a part of her media blitz, the good media, bad media, all of it's the same. We're talking about Beyonce, and then she'll come in and do her album, boom, act 3 or part 2 of 2, whatever we're doing, act 2 of 2, act 2.2, whatever we're doing. Like, and then it'll silence all this noise. And I don't know if I mentioned it, but I did say earlier, Jay-Z has been coming out with different like little clips of his YouTube. And let me go to his YouTube page. It's really interesting. Like, I don't know, it's just something I noticed, and I was talking about it with my brother. So let me tell you the songs, and then you can go look them up yourself and see what I'm talking about. And then Kanye West just dropped the album out. Well, it's not a new album, it's Bully, but he just dropped a visual for a father yesterday. I thought that was really interesting. I watched it, and then I watched a few of the other videos, and it's the classic Kanye. You either love it or you hate it. He's not a neutral person. So so 6 months ago, he dropped Imaginary Player. So first, when I noticed it was maybe a year ago when this all happened, right? When the legal situation, he dropped Not Guilty, Y'all Got to Feel Me, the one with R. Kelly, Not Guilty. That was circulating in my algorithm like crazy. And he was singing about not being guilty. That was about a year ago. And then 6 months ago, I see that and these are not like dropping new songs. He's just he's just unprivating. He remember his password, and he's unprivating his old account, and like making it available his new song, his old songs. So the first one he made available is this Imaginary Players one. So you guys can look that up, okay? Let me make myself the big thing so you guys can see me. Okay. So sorry, you can see it. Okay. So he has Imaginary Players there. That came out 6 months ago. This song is about him like kind of running around town, and there's like an op. And then the op, he notices him, and he's like chasing him around town, right? And it turns out the op is like a cop. So that's one. Then the second one is Dead Presidents. Okay? And then in Dead Presidents is him and all like the big rigs of the 90s. So it's like Biggie and everybody, and like I feel like Irv Gotti, all them big rigs is at the table, and they're like playing a poker game. And obviously Jay-Z wins the poker game, right? So that's the second video. And then that came out a month ago. So the Imaginary Players one was 6 months ago. And you can see the video before that was 2 years ago. So, which is Run with him and Beyonce. So it's 2 year ago video, 6 months ago, Imaginary Players, 1 month ago, Dead Presidents, and then 2 weeks ago, Wishing on the Star, right? Featuring Gwen Dickey. And the Wishing on the Star one was the one that kind of like really impacted me, because it's basically Jay-Z as a little boy, as you can see there. And he's talking about like his wishes and how he who he wanted to become. And it's a really like love letter to Brooklyn, a love letter to his young self, and it's him and like a love letter to like the streets and why he had to part ways with her, right? So the reason he had to part ways with the streets, her, is because the guy who he like admired the most, like the big drug dealer, he like got caught up. And so once he got caught up, he realized I cannot live that type of life. I have to make my life better for myself. And so that's where you see him in the scene. And he's like basically decides in that moment where he's gonna do something else different with his life. And that's when he decides to pursue the rap game. And we see where this has led him, right? So that was just dropped 2 weeks ago. So I just found it interesting that he's been dropping these type of songs and gems like every couple of weeks or months. I don't know. I'm watching, but I don't know what it means yet. But with like Beyonce and Jay-Z, they like to piece things together, and then we'll get the whole puzzle or pie later in the full picture. So I'm excited to see what that picture is. If you're interested in watching Jay-Z GQ interview, I say go check that out for yourself as well. Next up, we are going to talk a little bit about what we talking about. Oh, we're almost done. So I found this clip here, and we're gonna go way off topic. So I think the wrap up for Jay-Z would be, we have to believe in ourselves to become our best selves. And no matter where you come from, it goes back to what I said about that hood mentality. He didn't take it with him. Sometimes you can shed your skin and come out on the other side. And that's what he's trying to do. It's yet to be proven if he's done that successfully. That I'll leave that up to you to decide in the comments below. But what he's trying to do is shed that outer shell to blossom into a different part of himself, as we see with the flowers in his hand. And this leads me to my next topic, which is how can we make sure that when we're transforming, that we transform to the positive and not the negative, right? So I saw this image here, and of course I laughed. It said, if my job ever got me to this point, I'm leaving. But also, I saw this video here too that I felt like was a good commentary and addition to this sentiment. And let me show you guys it here.
Every day I wake up, I'm trying to go above and beyond for my aesthetics so that when I walk out the door, I look presenting as a woman. Because y'all are biological, so sometimes a real biological woman falls short on her beauty and her glam and her aesthetics because she always got so much else to worry about. Because every day I'm top tier beauty. Nails, makeup, skin, hair, lips, wig, the body piece. So that's why when I get in the field and I teach my sisters, I say, girl, go above and beyond for your beauty because that's your number one currency in this world. Go above and beyond for your beauty. Women fall short on their beauty, especially after having kids and everything for a woman. She got so much going on that the aesthetics be the last thing on the totem pole. Put your beauty number one. It's going to build your confidence. I'm telling you, I always try to look so good because I am trying to present as a woman. I'm a transsexual, so I'm presenting. You are.
You are a woman. And my mom, this is another thing, this is why I decided to do this video today, is because I remember my mom used to always say, you can look your best at the end of the day. Like, you don't have to go around looking crazy. You can always, like, she used to tell me how she used to work early in the morning, like 5 a.m. And her coworkers used to tell her, like, why are you dressing up? Why are you dressing up? Why are you putting on all this makeup and stuff and whatnot? And she say, Beyonce put on makeup. Why can't I? And if Beyonce need makeup to look good and as beautiful as she is, then I know I can use a little touch up from here to there, you know. And then on top of that, she would always tell me how a lot of, like, let me put myself down here. She would always tell me how, like, a lot of, like, I don't know the politically correct way to say it, so I really truly do apologize if I'm about to offend anybody. I'm really not trying to. I really am trying to find the right words. But what I'll say is, she used to tell me, like, a lot of, she say, I'll just say it how she said. She say drag queens take all day to look like you, to walk like you, to have your style, to have your swag, and you can't take 5 minutes to put yourself together. She told me that all the time. And my mom was a beauty queen. She was Miss Brickhouse. You know what I'm saying? She was in that pageant back in the day, like 1970 something. So she always kind of cared about the presentation, but also the soul, right? She used to say, you could be pretty on the outside but ugly on the inside. So we want to have a match of both of those things, right? We want to have beauty on the outside but beauty on the inside as well. So it's not just about looks, but it's also about taking care of your soul. It's the soul that needs the surgery. But so in this picture here, somebody has stolen this lady's soul. Somebody has taken it away from her. Look at that. Look how she started versus how she finished. And we know how, I don't know if you know politics a little bit, how her trajectory ended and how brutal things were for her because the stress of the job and things got in the way. Never forget who you are and whose you are, and don't allow the world to suck your soul, to suck your beauty out of you. And also don't allow yourself to do that for you. Because sometimes it might not be the job that's sucking you dry. It might be you sucking your own energy out. And this is what this video is saying. He's essentially saying, as a man, look at all the work I gotta go through just to get to the starting point of where you are as a natural born woman, and you can't take care of yourself. We have to take care of ourselves, because if we're not doing it for the male gaze or anything like that, we're doing it for ourselves, for our own upkeep, to make sure we feel good about ourselves. If it means putting a little blush on, a little powder on, do that. If you want to be bare natural, just a lip gloss girl, do that. But moisturize. There is pride in care. My mother used to always say, my mom used to always tell us, your home is your dressing room and the world is your stage. You have to be presentable in it. You have to show up as your true self. And it doesn't have to be a perfect image. It doesn't have to be Instagrammable. It doesn't have to be with a filter. But it has to be a representation of who you are on the inside. It has to be a reflection of who you are on the outside. Okay, when you look in that mirror, when you see the man in the mirror, the woman in the mirror, the person in the mirror, do you see the good in yourself? That needs to be an outward reflection as well. So that is what that came from. Like, when I saw his video, reminded me of some of the words that I got from when I was a young girl. And I'll never also remember, I tell you guys this before, like a long time ago. I was outside hanging, and I remember, I'll never forget, it was two drag queens, or I don't even think they were drag queens, they were like transgenders, and they came out and they were looking good, honey. Like, I didn't know they were transgender. They looked like just regular, natural born females. And I don't think they had transitioned, because they were walking and they flipped their hair and they said, "Oh yeah, I can get all the men, because with a face like this and a body like this, what man could resist me?" And me and my best friend fell out laughing. And from then on out, we've been saying that to each other. Like, girl, with a face like this and a body like this, what man could resist me? Because it was just so confident. And the crazy thing is, the transgender had a deep voice. He was like, because everything was girl, everything was T, clock it. And then they opened their mouth and they were like, with a face like this and a body like this, what man could resist it? It was just crazy. So ever since then too, it's like showed me, like, if they can do it and they have to do all the work to get there, you're already at step one. Why not show up and be the best part of yourselves, the best part of representation of you can be for yourself? I'm not saying be anybody else. I'm saying show up as yourself, because if you don't like you, nobody else can like you. You have to love you first. You have to like you first. You are your first biggest fan. So I'll leave that there. And I have one more thing to say, and that leads me to a woman who has been an exemplary example of showing up as yourself, loving yourself, constantly improving themselves, and that is Miss Olandria. Oh my goodness, girl, you better. This girl right here, she might be in my slide every week. This is like 2 for 2 weeks in a row I've been talking about this girl. And that's how you do it. She's going to be at the Met Gala, y'all. And they have her as Olandria. When we talked about the big dog at the top, Zendaya, this is what I'm talking about. Know how to move in a room full of vultures, Jay-Z, right? So this is what I'm talking about. Like, at the end of the day, there are some ways you can transcend. Like I said, transcend. Yes, you not everybody who transcend, who leaves the hood, is going to leave the hood. They might take it anywhere they go. But some people, they leave the spoils of the old world behind. And I talked about, we'll see if Jay-Z has been able to do it successfully. But one person who I feel has done it immaculately is Miss Olandria Carthen. She is from Love Island, if you guys don't know, and she has continued to show up, improve who she is, and how to show up in this world as your full, authentic, beautiful self, and ain't nothing nobody can do about it. And that has been so fun to watch. And I think as Black women, as men even, we can take something from Olandria, and that is how to show up in an authentic way, and show up consistently as yourself, and having your stuff together, having your team together, your brand together. And when you have those things in the right people in the right space, and keeping your circle small, it creates chef's kiss magic, right? And so I'm rooting for all of us to have this type of success in our lives. That leads me to my last segment, which is Joy Comes in the Morning. So as you guys know, this is my finale. This is my like wrap up segment that I have each week. It's called Joy Comes in the Morning, because weeping may endure for the night, but joy, it will come in the morning. And we have to remember that when we're dealing with each other, when we're going back into the world, when we leave each other here, that we are going into sometimes a vicious and a hard world. But we have to know that although it comes for the night, we will have joy in the morning. And I feel like a person who is a perfect example of that is Jill Scott herself, Jilly from Philly. And I wanted you to hear something she had to say, because when I saw this video, I just felt like this was like
all that I
exactly
wanted
what I
was a
thinking.
house on Spring Garden.
And that's in Philly. Yeah.
That's
and
all
what's Spring Garden like? What is that?
All that I wanted was a house on Spring Garden.
And that's in Philly. Yeah.
That's
and
all
what's Spring Garden like? What is that?
3-4 story homes. They have white marble steps, tall ceilings with very intricate crown molding and hardwood floors. I mean, dream. I would walk by there real slow, hoping that somebody would have their window or their door open so I could take a peek. Yes. That's not what I come from. But I wanted it. That's all I wanted. That was it. And I was going to sit on the steps with my cat, and I was going to drink coffee with my legs crossed. That was the dream.
Yes.
My crown molding is so beautiful. It's
Is there a moment when you realized
every day? Like I'm sure it's annoying. I'm sure somehow, somewhere in somebody that this is annoying, that anybody could feel so self-satisfied. I feel satisfied when so often everything seems so terrible. Relationships are bad, kids are bad, the system is bad, and it is. It really, really is. And got me emotional. Tanya, like, what's up?
So you see what I wanted you to see there, right? So with that, it reminds me of what we've kind of been talking about in this entire live today, which truly, when I sum it up, is the idea of transformation. So we started with Zendaya, who has transcended what stardom is, what that means, and how to become her true self and show up always as her authentic self. And then we ended with Jilly from Philly, right? And in that, she just discusses how proud she is to kind of get a little piece of that pie, and how she always just wanted a home on Spring Street, which is a small street in her environment, where she was able to obtain that finally, right? And then we ended on Jay-Z, who has possibly transcended that and may have come into a full transition of that dream that we want, from literally from the bottom to the top. We also tapped a little bit on Tommy Lee, who does not want that transition and wants to actually bring people like somebody who's high up, Juelz, into her crab barrel, right? So where do you lie on that line? And as I was researching the stages of transformation, and how we cannot become necessarily a Tommy Lee, that we take that hood mentality wherever we are, even when we are in the state house, or even when we are in Alaska or Hawaii, we're taking that hood mentality anywhere, versus a Jill Scott who grew up in it as well, but now has made her place and has her own estate and has her own things and her own joys, and she's able to relinquish that mentality, right? That's what she had to do. She had to do these steps of transformation. And here are some of the steps you have to realize and recognize that it's time for a change, that Oprah talks about, that aha moment. You have to release, let go of old habits, limiting beliefs, and any emotional baggage. You have to rebound, nurturing your mind, body, spirit, and prepare for a new level. And remember, new level, new devil, as we saw with Will Smith, as we saw with Jay-Z. And some people don't get to that new level, as we saw with Diddy. He was starting a new company. Whenever you're at that peak, a new devil is going to come, and you have to show up and face the man in the mirror. And sometimes the devil's going to bring you right back down. And sometimes you're going to be able to go to a new level, like Miss Jill Scott or Olandria. Okay? You have to reinvent yourself. Make new choices, behaviors in alignment with your vision. You have to tell a vision. You have to see it. You have to see something, say something. You have to tell a vision and go in the way of that vision, and don't let anything get in the way of it. You have to resurrect. Rising above past limitations with living anew in a higher consciousness. You have to respond, engaging with the world in a new way, focusing on contribution and impact. We know how Jill has impacted the world. What daily is your contribution to the world? How are you showing up to the world? Go back to that video about the transgender guy and how he's showing up and how he's explaining to women how they can do more because they have more material to start with. What material are you starting with? Are you starting with a little or a lot? Know and take stake of where you are in your life, so that you can mold yourself and become the best version of who you want to be. Remember, I keep saying it's not who you are, it's whose you are. You are from the higher source, the higher power, and you are connected to that source. And so that's what I wanted to help you maintain and sustain, and get to that new level so you can see and develop a new version of yourself. And I say all this with experience. So for me, and we'll get into this in the next thing, and then I'm going to end it here almost. We're almost there. So the last thing I want to say for the day is send you guys off with this message. And the message is, she cleared out all of her old ideas of things until she hear her own joy with almost no effort at all, right? She cleared out all of her old ideas of things until she could hear her own joy with almost no effort at all. That's the only voice you need to hear in your head, is you. And this can be she cleared or he cleared, right? Out all their old ideas of things until they can hear their own voice, right? You want to hear yourself with almost no effort at all. And I used to say to my best friend, oh, I feel like when things were good, I'm like, oh, it feels so effortless. And I remember watching this old indie movie about love, and it was like black love, and I remember one of the characters, and I don't remember the name of the movie or where I could find it, but I'll never forget this scene. And they were just, him and the girl, like, were it seemed destined to be. But one day he just kind of said to her, it shouldn't be this hard to love you so much. Right? It should almost feel effortless when you are first getting to know somebody and you fall in love with somebody. And that's how it should feel to get to know yourself. When you are at that calm level, when you are by yourself in your house, in your sheets, who are you? Take stock of her or him. That's the person you want to be when you are in these environments that are high stress. Revert back to her so that you don't, or him, so that you don't have that feeling of nerves and anxiety and stress, but you have a true foundation of solid comfort in who you are, like a Zendaya, right? So that's what we're working towards, being our most authentic self, no matter who we come across and no matter what room we enter. And then you can have that peace that passes all understanding that Jill Scott speaks of. So that's what I want to leave you with. And yeah, that's my message for today, guys. I appreciate you joining my live. This is probably the longest live I've ever done. 2 hours, but we had time today, and because I didn't give you a proper live last week, I promised you that I would come through for you guys this week. So please, if you haven't already, like this live. Don't forget to subscribe. It's your girl Nico Nicole, and this is Give This Girl a Mic. I just want to do a little wrap up of our afternoon or evening now. So don't forget, I do sell these hoodies. I have them in my shop. So if you want one, you can just let me know. That's the link there. You can purchase. Because people, every time I wear these hoodies, they ask where I get them from. I make them. That's where it is. If you want to send me a cup of coffee, as you guys see, this live stream is long and it does take a lot of effort. Need a lot of hydration. You can help me do that with a cup of coffee. So you want to support the channel in that way. And if you you can either buy me a cup of coffee, or you could buy yourself a mug, because the mugs are also for purchase with requests. So if you want a mug, just let me know. I'll send you the link and you can purchase the mug on my site as well. Same site as the t-shirt. So yeah, just let me know. And then the Snapchat, you guys know I do a lot of recaps of TV shows, especially like Love Island. I just did Age of Attraction, which we'll do next week. I finished up that this weekend. I just couldn't fit it all in here. We would have been in here until next week. So we'll talk about that next week sometime. I told you guys last week on my live that I did start a new job. So congratulations to me. And we'll discuss a little bit about that on one of my random lives later. In the meantime, between time, we're going to recap Age of Attraction, and we have some other stuff that we're going to talk about next week that I wasn't able to talk about this week. I wanted to talk about Queen and her getting engaged and all that stuff, but we'll get into that. And as you guys know, these are my final thoughts. I always end you with this. Make sure you maintain your morals, your values, and your principle, because you are the MVPs of your life. It's your girl, Nico Nicole. And don't forget to give yourself some praise this week. Give yourself a pat on the back if you made it through another day. Life ain't easy, but it's worth it, you know. So again, it's your girl, Nico Nicole. This is Give This Girl a Mic. I'll see you guys in the next live. See you guys later. Peace.